There are 6 layers that shape the kind of life we live, or the one we're likely to end up with. The first layer, and the most important of all, is sociology. When people live together within the same community, the layer simply reveals itself, even before rules and institutions. Sociology is where ideas about culture, norms, identity, class, religion, gender, race, custom all take shape. When people live together, these ideas bind them into a community, and for some reason, people already have a sense of who belongs and who doesn't. You see this when people rally around those from the same religion, region, or even background and defend their actions, not because it is written anywhere, but because those people are considered one of them, and familiarity sometimes feels like justification. When the layer of sociology is weak, the fabric of society begins to crumble. It becomes hard for the concept of trust to form beyond small circles. Please note, if sociology is unstable, then there is no point continuing this video because everything above it falls apart, making sociology the foundation and the most important of them all. Next layer is geography. This is not about the boring subject in high school. Geography simply means your physical reality will influence your outcome. Factors like land, climate, terrain, borders, distance, and resources. All of that matters more than we actually admit. As identity forms on the sociological layer, people adapt to their respective location. You see this with 2 equally capable children. Take for example, one child grows up in an urban area with reliable schools, transport, and healthcare, while another grows up in a rural area far from those systems. Naturally, their futures slowly diverge, even before personal choices are made or effort comes to play. Why? Because location is everything, and so people migrate because they eventually understand that positioning matters. When the geography layer is ignored, we struggle to realize our surrounding possibilities and limitations. And the outcome? Motion without movement. Now, once people live together to form a society in a geographical location, there's bound to be disagreements and conflicts. That is where the third layer comes in, policy. Policy is where rules are written and enforced. Laws, institutions, authority, guiding how people live together. It decides what is allowed, what is restricted, and what's ignored. Listen, you have to care about politics because when the policy layer is weak, rules exist but don't apply to everyone. People who are considered untouchables are created, and power flows through personal relationships or silos instead of through systems everyone trusts. Policy codifies those values and makes them visible. The collapse of policy is devastating. This is what separates working countries, or a working anything to be honest, from others that don't work. The fourth layer is psychology. This is where we absorb everything from the previous 3 layers: place, culture, rules, and other environmental factors. I like to call them natural factors, turning them into our personality of choice. In this layer, people become who they are or who they believe they can become. Society today apparently is beginning to realize the importance of psychology, with the many talks these days about mindset or mental health, because when psychology is unstable, emotions tend to overpower reason and choices become reactive instead of intentional. Your psychology, that's your state of mind, is what you carry forward to the 5th layer called economy. This is the most popular layer because it is the most visible. It is the most tangible. We're talking about work, money, food, clothing, shelter, healthcare. It is the layer economists often point to. Think Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is where it lives. The economy layer is fundamentally about survival and ambition. Now remember, everything feeds from the bottom, including the psychology that is crucial to how we approach the economy. So you see, even how we function in our offices while seeking our daily bread, or how we approach survival on the economy layer, has already been shaped by the previous 4 layers. Keep that in mind the next time you are hustling for your paycheck at work. And last but not least, the 6th and final layer. I call it the recreation layer. They say all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So when we overcome survival, we start looking for entertainment, relaxation, joy, escape, fun, especially when we feel secure and have the resources from the economy layer. Take for example, after a day's work, a well-paid employee can talk about meeting a friend or going out for drinks. But when you do not feel secure economically, closing time just means heading to a second job or another shift. The recreation layer is important, otherwise work-life balance will not be a thing. So there you have it, the 6 layers. Now comes the architectural metaphor. Most people only see the economy and the recreation layers. We can liken it to a 2-story building, economy being the first floor and recreation being the second floor. And for most people, that's how they see the world. That's how everything makes sense. Until something stops working at the economy floor and survival starts to feel harder than it should. That's when the questions begin. Am I missing something? Why am I struggling? Why am I working so much, yet no results? And that's when we begin to remember something very important. The outcome of life doesn't stop at the 2 floors we can see. And this 2-story building doesn't stand on its own. It is supported by 4 underground floors that we rarely see or think about: sociology, geography, policy, and psychology. Honestly, if I had to give this whole thing a name, I'd call it the architecture of human condition, a framework that helps us now see why sociology is the true foundation we need to understand first before anything else, because everything else sits on top of it. The more we understand these underground floors, especially sociology, the more the world starts to make sense. And once you see all 6 floors stacked together, it becomes clear why we can't afford to think only in terms of jobs, promotions, ambitions, or entertainment. So, if we want to live better lives and build better societies, we have to look beyond the visible floors above ground and be willing to go downstairs into the basement as well. Remember, you're better off knowing, because what you do not see or fully know still affects how you live. I'll see you on the next one.